Anthony, hi, how are you?
Alfonso, how are you? Pleased to meet you.
Good, it is a pleasure. I have so many questions, but I'm going to start with the basics
Yep.
because you wrote or co-wrote with David Haig, who not only created the play, but also played one of the roles. So, how was to transport the language of theater to film, or if you just had the idea, put it on the side, and just decided to create a piece that could be completely independent in terms of the construction, the words, and all of the other elements.
Yeah, I think adapting a play for the screen can be tricky. This was quite a natural evolution, I've got to say. I had the good fortune of working with David Haig, who knew the material really well. He actually played Stagg, the title role, the lead role, and I think he'd played it over 300 times, so he knew the material really well. I I was just eager to work with him because I loved the underlying story. I thought, some of the messages that the film was exploring were very timely, even though it's a film set 80 years ago. And I was just excited to have a piece that, I could work with actors to really get under the hood with some really heavy character stuff. And yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Andrew Scott has demonstrated in his career that he can transform himself into anything, into anybody. And I was mesmerized by his performance in this film. How was it to see him taking on the role and to move, speak, like to create a new reality with this character?
With Andrew, one of the things that stood out to me, both from his previous work and definitely in working with him in this film, is he has this uncanny ability to seemingly do very little on screen and you just can't look away. And with a character like Stagg, where so much of his conflict is internal, uh, I think you need an actor who can work in layers and who can have all of these different things going on at once. Uh, his character's got a big heart, and yet he's laden with this huge responsibility. And so, he's got this gruff exterior where he wants to be professional and he wants to do what's asked of him. His character is an extremely brilliant mind. He's kind of able to look into nature itself and kind of see the hidden matrix code behind nature. In order for an actor to do that, I think it requires someone who, obviously is extremely dedicated to the craft and all that sort of stuff, but has a magic. And, from the first time I met Andrew, I knew he had that. And yeah, it was a joy to work with him throughout.
I did a little research on Eisenhower because I wanted to see how was his personality.
Mhm.
And then I saw the film, and then I see Brendan Fraser in this role, and it's a very big role. And of course, it's very difficult to guide myself with what I read about him because in this situation, it's an impossible, difficult, crazy position that he is in. How was to measure he and to guide Brendan through the process of all of the reactions that he has during the film?
Well, I think with Eisenhower, particularly, it's important to remember that the public image that we have of him primarily is of Eisenhower, the president. Pressure is looking at Eisenhower, the general. It's the making of the legend. You're talking about a guy who was smoking, they say between 3 and 6 packets of cigarettes a day. I don't know how this is possible, but they're saying he's drinking up to 24 cups of coffee a day. Again, I'd be on the toilet the whole time, but Eisenhower. His back was sore. He had lung problems. It was the stress and the pressure of leading the largest armed forces group in history is going to get to him a bit. And we know Eisenhower the hero. We know Eisenhower the mythic figure. What we try to do with pressure is sort of look behind that and look at the man before the legend was made. And so there was a vulnerability to him that I was very keen to explore. Like in his private moments, what did he truly feel about these operations, about his men, about his responsibility to them? And that's what I thought was really special about Brendan and about what he could contribute to this film. He is imposing. He has the size. He has all of this sort of stuff. We weren't going for a literal interpretation or a literal impersonation of Eisenhower. We were trying to go for the deeper truth, which is a man who, even though he's got a million men behind him, he's all completely alone in this room and he's got to make this final decision. And so it's an actor that can sort of embody both the charisma and the love. People love Brendan Fraser. People loved Eisenhower. So on a very basic level, he has that folksy charm. He has that ability where all of America loves him. But can we get the vulnerability? Can we get what did it feel like when the chips are down and you might be responsible for the biggest blunder, in the war's history, which it could have gone that way. It's important to remember that. So, yeah, that's some of the thoughts about that.
And my last question is the most difficult one because they say in the industry that when you create a film, you do three movies: one that is written, one that you direct, and one that you edit. And you edited this film, which is so beautiful. The cinematography is incredible. How was that inner conflict to edit this piece?
I've edited all my films. I've had co-editors in the past as well, my last film, but ever since my short films, I've edited all of them. And I love that process. I have a great team in my edit team that I work with. But for me, it's the last coat of paint. The first coat of paint is, I guess, the research. The next, as you say, is the writing. But the film is written, as you say, three times. You explore and discover a lot of things with the actors on set. We do that. But then in the edit, it's where it all comes together. And my directing style is very much built around what the edit is going to be. We have a lot of preparation. I do have storyboards to an extent, but a lot of it is a bit of fuzzy logic. It's trying to construct a moment and capture the moment rather than preordain it or feed it into the camera. What that means for the edit then is I got an idea when I'm shooting, but there is an exploration in the edit, and it's how do you kill your darlings? How are you willing to sort of get rid of the scenes that you put so much blood, sweat, and tears into, so many blood, sweat, and tears into, whatever it is. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's part of the filmmaking process, and I love it. I love being in the edit room. I love seeing the performances coming together. I love seeing the work of our incredible cast and crew, all finally getting to the point after all this time. You see life coming into it. For me, it's a beautiful part of the experience. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Beautiful indeed. Anthony, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Alfonso. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.